Hello and welcome everyone to Nuggets After Bedtime, the IU basketball podcast for busy parents. I'm your host Dylan, and once the house is quiet and the kids are finally asleep, it's time to talk some Indiana Hoosiers basketball. So as you're cleaning that playroom for the 100th time today, grab those headphones and let's talk some IU hoops. This is the last of our NCAA tournament preview episodes. We will be talking about the Midwest region, the bottom right-hand corner, and then at the end of this one, we will go over. We'll have all my Final Four picks, and we'll go over the Final Four, and eventually who I think will be counting down the Nets in Indianapolis and on April 6th. But first, let's go overhead and fill out this Midwest region. This region, of course, I've been naming each region with a little bit of a parenting theme, as we are a basketball podcast targeted towards busy parents. So the Midwest region, I have done the gentle parenting region. The theme of this region is a region dominated by either young or newer coaches on the scene, not so much of your old guard with your Patinos and your Izzos and your Selfs and your Calberries who have been either coaching or been at their schools for forever. This is more about the region with relatively new coaches who are having early success in their careers at their schools. So you look at Michigan with Dusty May, Ryan Odom, his first year at Virginia's got him a 3 seed. Grant McCaslin at Texas Tech has been doing well. TJ Ossenberg, Iowa State. I even stretched out to Nate Oates. He's been there for a few years, but ever since he's gotten to Alabama, has done really well with them. So just a region with a lot of modern coaches in it, and kind of gentle parenting is a style of parenting that is more modern, definitely talked about more now than it was 10, 15, even 20 years ago. So this is a gentle parenting region because of the coaches that are in it that are dominating college basketball right now. So let's start at the top. 1 seed Michigan. They'll play the winner of Howard UMBC. UMBC sounds familiar as 16 seeds because they beat Virginia in the first, one of the biggest upsets in the first 16-1 upset. That's not going to happen this time around. Give me Michigan. In the 8-9, you got Georgia St. Louis, the absolute track meet. Literally the first team to get a couple stops is probably going to win. But give me St. Louis, partially because I think they have the ability with how many people can shoot from outside. They have multiple shooters on the floor, but also partly because I'm selfish and I want Robbie Avila to play another game in the NCAA tournament, because I think he has one of the greatest nicknames ever in college basketball with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So give me St. Louis. In the 5-12 matchup, you have Texas Tech versus Akron. This is probably one of the games I spent the most time going back and forth of in the round of 64. You have that typical 5-12 upset. Texas Tech missing their best player, JT Toppin, out for the year of ACL injury. Christian Anderson, who's really good guard, last seen limping off the glass court at the Big 12 tournament. So his status is kind of up in the air. So I think this Texas Tech team is vulnerable. Akron, third straight year winning the MAC. John Gross, former Illinois coach, coaching there. They've got a couple really talented guards. And I think this is an opportunity for them. There's blood in the water with Texas Tech. I really like Grant McCaslin as a coach. But I think Akron's going to pull off the upset. That's the only 5-12 upset I have this year. There's got to be at least one, right? So give me Akron to beat up Texas Tech team. And in the 4-13, you have Alabama Hofstra. Now, when this bracket first came out, I was pretty gung-ho. Yeah, Alabama's going to get this, even though Hofstra does have some good guard play themselves, but Alabama's just going to be able to run them up and down the court. Hostra's not a very deep team. I think that the athleticism and just the amount of bodies that Bama can throw at them and the style of the play is really hard to combat, especially as a lower major team. But then the news dropped later today that their second best guard, Aiden Holloway, was busted on felony marijuana charges. And I don't think he's going to play this weekend. It doesn't sound like he is. He might, obviously. I'll never know if Alabama. They had the whole Mason Miller scandal a few years ago with the shooting and all that. But despite that, I'm still going to go with Bama. I think they'll be able to survive a game against Hofstra and move on to play Akron. In the 6-11 matchup, you have Tennessee taking on the winner of SMU, and Miami of Ohio was the last team in the field. Only one loss. I think SMU's going to beat Miami of Ohio, and I think Tennessee's going to beat SMU. And then you have Virginia taking on Wright State. This isn't your Tony Bennett's Virginia. They actually can score. They're not presidents on just defense. I said that like it was a negative Tony Bennett for won a national title, but I would love to take it Tony Bennett. But anyway, UVA is going to win that one. No disrespect to Tony Bennett. Great job. So 7-10, you got Kentucky versus Santa Clara. This one's another very popular upset pick, and I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going Santa Clara beat Kentucky. Santa Clara's got a lot of size, length, and Kentucky just hasn't been right all year, despite their very expensive NIL roster. Pieces just don't seem to be fitting, so give me Santa Clara. And then Iowa State versus Tennessee State. Iowa State, the Cyclones are moving on. Back up at the top, we've got Michigan taking on St. Louis. I think Michigan's just got too much size for them, too much talent. Give me Michigan to move on to the Sweet 16 in Chicago, and then Akron versus Bama. This whole thing with Bama guard is just, I know, the distraction piece, and will they be able to pull off 2 wins? I just don't know. Give me Akron to get the upset there. Another double-digit seed into the Sweet 16. Tennessee UVA, I don't think enough people are talking about Tennessee. They're tough, they're physical. They do have a star freshman that I think offensively would be able to carry some load. Gillespie is a pretty good guard who's been very good for them. So give me Tennessee to pull off the upside against Virginia. Virginia this year just hasn't been able to beat any elite teams. And I think Tennessee pulls off the upset there. And then Santa Clara, Iowa State. Kind of went back and forth on this one, but I think Iowa State's got too much offensively. They've got a lot of weapons, and they are also a very tough physical team. So give me Iowa State. We have Michigan taking on a 12 seed Akron. Good break for Michigan. The storybook run for Akron ends there. Michigan moving on to the Elite Eight, and then Tennessee, Iowa State. I think it's gonna be a good game, physical, bruising basketball. But give me Iowa State. I think they have too much offensively, and their guards are, I think, better. So I have another 1 versus 2. On 3 of the 4 regions, I have 1 versus 2. So I think you're gonna see that kind of in this year's tournament. I think the top teams have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. But in the Michigan, Iowa State, and Chicago should be a great atmosphere. But give me Michigan to move on to the Final Four. So as a recap, my Final Four in Indianapolis. Out of the East, I have a 3 seed Michigan State, Tom Izzo, getting his team back to the Final Four. From the South, defending champions Florida Gators. From the West, Big 12 champs Arizona. And then from the Midwest, Michigan regular season champs in the Big 10. So we'll talk about Michigan State versus Florida. I think this is where Florida's front court depth and talent is able to. Michigan State's not going to be able to neutralize that or take advantage of having the rebound advantage. Florida will limit the ability for Michigan State to get in transition, and I think the guard play is better for Florida, and I think they're hitting their stride. So give me Florida to return to the championship game, beating out Michigan State. And on the other side, Arizona, Michigan, worthy of a championship game itself. Two really talented teams. Just hasn't been a fan of what Michigan's kind of shown towards the end of the year here. Some vulnerability. Losing LJ Carson, one of their backup guards. I think this is a game that hurts them in because it's going to really be an all hands on deck situation. So give me Arizona defeating Michigan, and you have a Florida versus Arizona national championship game. And I think this is the year that Tommy Lloyd and Arizona break through for the first time since, I think, 99? 90s? No, I think 99 was Duke. Sometime in the 90s where Arizona won. But I think the Arizona Wildcats are to prevent the Florida Gators from going back-to-back, and they will be your 2025-2026 national champions. So, congratulations to the Arizona Wildcats. I either just jinxed you, or if everything that I think happens, you will be the national champions. So, that's going to wrap it up for this episode and our NCAA preview. I might do a Sunday night recap of the weekend that was. I would love to do a night by night recap video, but that's just a lot because these games go super late, and I don't know if I'll be able to get those up fast enough, so I'll probably just do an overall recap video Sunday night, going over all the action that happened over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. But thank you again for listening. If you found this enjoyable, please go ahead and share it with your family and friends, anybody who loves college basketball, anybody who maybe doesn't love college basketball but is looking to fill out a bracket. Throw these episodes their way. Maybe they'll take some of the information I gave them to help them. Maybe not. But be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode. Also, you can find us on YouTube. So go ahead and like our YouTube channel, Buckets After Bedtime. But again, thanks again for listening. And until next time, hug your kids, get some sleep, and as always, go Hoosiers.